All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Baus Map. Today, of course, is the day of industrialization. Today is the day that we all start building our factories. Factory day, folks. And um, honestly, you already should be a good, 5, 6 hours into it by now. Um, those people who are in it to win it, so to speak, start their factories on day change, exactly, specifically to the second. They set alarms on their phones. Um, they know that getting those early RDs out are super important, obviously. So we'll see what happens moving forward with that. That is a milestone day, and it's worth another episode here on the Baus Map. We're starting again with the morale map because it's just a great way to see where conflict is happening around the world. Something that didn't get a lot of mention on our last map was the conflict between Japan and Russian Yakutia. Right now, you can see there is a lot going on over here. And who is this? Far Eastern Republic. Not sure where their capital is. Oh, yeah, it looks like. I'm not sure why sometimes just nothing shows up there. If you guys know why, let me know. That might mean AI. It might mean they just don't have a capital anymore. I don't know. Then why would it show this? No, that says capital there. So if you know, maybe share in the notes in the comments down below this video. Why is it that sometimes there's just nothing there? Because, of course, I feel like there should be a guy with computers behind him like this. Down here, we see it happening right here in Russian Turkestan, where let's see who left. Yep, Ricardo da Vinci just left the game. I think we noticed that there was a coup d'etat earlier when he left. Who else is this now? Chinese Tibet. Yep, here we go. And as we mentioned, there they went. They're gone. So too bad. Probably had other obligations, whatever. You can see there is a little war here. I don't know. Maybe something went wrong in a war with an AI to lead them to leave. Who knows? But they're gone, at least for the time being. All right. So let's just kind of look over the map as it stands right now. We see a lot of red here. That leads me to believe that Mongolia is stretched thin. I don't know if that's from Conquer. Let's just take a look at one of these. If it's a low percentage, 48%. Yeah, that looks like it's recently conquered. Let's see who he's at war with right now. Mongolia is currently at war with no one. So very interesting. May have done some early capturing of AI, and is now just recovering morale. Not sure. We do know that Russian Yakutia has been at war with, that's why. So one of the things I didn't notice was this was deep red in our last cast. And I think it's because Russian Yakutia had just taken over from the Japanese Empire over here. So there is conflict here. I will say that the casualties have been heavily against Japan in this conflict. So however they've done it, the Siberian tanker has done well in that engagement. A lot of conflict going on here. Looks like between the Ottomans and British Pakistan potentially. Let's see if they're at war with each other. Again, no. And I don't always trust this at war icon because sometimes it seems just obvious that they have to be at war and then they're not. But in this case, it looks like there is a hot border here, but apparently there is not. And again, that could just be because they're taking over AIs between them. 44% leads me to believe that's recently captured territory. A lot of conflict, as we mentioned down here earlier, down under, a lot of conflict. We've now gone from 4 major states down to basically 2, and it looks like Dutch East India is going down. And that is usually the way it happens, is this will stabilize into 2. Rarely will it go all the way to 1, but going to 2 is very, very common as they sort of eat each other. And it's a good move for them because, once they stabilize to 2, and they probably have an alliance here. Yeah, they're both in the same coalition there. You can see the Pirates of Australia. Once they stabilize to that 2, then they don't really have much external threat to worry about. And then they can expand north into Asia, which is typically what they try to do. Is Captain Blackbeard? Yeah, he's got to be part of the pirates down there. So we have what looks like Bugs Bunny is not part of that alliance, but Dutch New Guinea is. And Bugs Bunny, buddy, I hope you are on high alert there, my friend. I hope you're building forts and moving towards getting some cruisers in the water. Um, although you may have some sort of agreement with that coalition, I don't know. Again, I've got it set so that no units appear and no fog of war appears to show where units might be, with the circles or whatnot, with people who have shared map with me. So it should be pretty safe. What I'm looking at here is just exactly what anybody else can look at. We do still have a lot of pink up here in North Central Asia here, Russian Siberia. Russian Siberia is an AI. Fascinating. At war with no one. And I am just not trusting that. At war with icon. It just how can these people not be at war with anyone and yet have so much pink and even red on their maps? I don't know. Again, it could just be recent conquest from AI. So here we have something that was just now conquered here. Anglo-Egyptian Sudan just now took this territory. We can know that for certain. This person is part of Africa Coalition. Down here we have British East Africa, not part of that coalition, but with some pink borders here. So British East Africa, are you at war with anybody? No. How can this be? It may be that you can't see that unless you have intel. I don't know. It seems like in the past you could always tell. This looks like a recently conquered territory, but again, this is an AI. So not sure what's happening here. I feel like maybe he conquered this back from somebody else in the region. Here we have a desperately pink thing. It looks like just conquered here that potentially Colty Eager took, French Morocco took. Very interesting stuff. Okay, we have had a lot of conflict on the British Isles. So has that stabilized? Remember, England was at war with Ireland, and yes, look at that. So we have Kingdom of England, looks like has conquered the Isle entirely. What is this little fragment here? Is that still, so Scotland is still hanging on. We saw a lot of war on the British Isles, but it does look like it is stabilizing now. We have England here, and in the north, we have Scotland, who has part of the island there. So let's see. Okay, Scotland, oh boy, is at war with 3 countries, Canada, Danish Greenland, and Ontario, but not with England. So that's worthy of note. It looks like this may have stabilized in a similar way that Australia did, to where now Scotland and England are working together. Ironically, that's what happened historically as well. And I think this game starts with a Wales, doesn't it? There's Wrexham, solidly in Wales, and they are now part of the Kingdom of England. So that has resolved as well. A lot of conflict going up in Scandinavia here. So this is Lapland, the AI. So potentially we can have a situation where they're being attacked, but this is low morale for Lapland there. We did notice this in the Discord. Something radioactive is happening here. This could be because Nixon was threatening to set off some kind of nuclear device that his time-traveling scientists have obtained. Here we have, I'll allow it, looks like is potentially, this is Ontario here, right? Potentially capturing some territory there across, what is this, Lake Superior? I don't know, Lake Huron. Anyway, looks like he's looping around there and capturing some territory there, which normally would be what, Michigan? I don't know. Anyway, and then we see some conquering down here from Canada as well. It looks like these guys are all part of McLaren's. Is that correct here? Yeah, McLaren's. What about over here? Not a part of McLaren's. And over here, not a part of McLaren. So we do have a nice block in the center here that appears to be pushing south. Good for them. A lot of conflict going on down here. We talked about this earlier, that California Republic was very active against Texas. Is Texas still hanging on down here? Nope. California. So let's take a look at California, who was active against Texas and a couple other countries, is now only at war with the United States of America and Richard Nixon. Okay, so Richard Nixon over here, all the way over here. How very interesting that they are at war so far away from each other. No seeming points of contact there between them. So they're just, I guess, spiting each other, 5% morale per day, just because they are angry with each other. Looks like we have a recently captured territory here. This is Chile, reaching all the way over here from down here. Chile coming in and probably has right-of-way with maybe some of these other territories. Now, this is part of the American Empire. Chile is not a part of that. So we know from we wap wep. Okay. That's a change of name. We haven't seen that so far. Few people have changed their name as we've moved around the map. We've seen. Um, I don't remember Colt the Eager, but if anybody watches 90 Day Fiance, this guy Colt, his 90 Day Fiance wife called him Colty. Is really horrible. 90 Day Fiance, if you haven't watched it, is a shit show. It's terrible. It's these privileged uh, Americans going to places like Trinidad or, places overseas that struggle economically, and then they use the the appeal of American citizenship to attract people who are like way better looking than them, like way better looking. And then they bring them back often into just terrible situations in the United States. Like they don't have a job or they have a terrible job, and it's a great show if you just want to see like train wrecks. And so this one particular guy was Colt, and his girlfriend called him Colty. And side note, it was discovered later that he has an OnlyFans, and he's a dumpy, basic white guy, and he's got an OnlyFans, and somebody leaked it, and there's like pictures of him with whipped cream on his nipples with cherries on them, and it's like, who is paying an OnlyFans for this loser? It's great. So anyway, it does look like we have conflict going on up here, but it looks like recent conquest kind of stuff. We knew that there was a lot going on with California, very active in the early days, which is unusual. Down here into South America, we knew already that Lone Wolf down here was facing some adversity. I think what happened was he ended up fording up and letting his enemies die screaming against the concrete. And if you do that smart, then you can then just stream in and capture. A lot of people, a lot of noobs do that. They early on throw everything at forts, and then there's nothing in the backcountry. You just kind of take it. I love it when that happens personally. Down here we have yours truly, King Spankerton here. I was admitted into the alliance of the Lion's Den. I was very happy about that because otherwise I would have been surrounded and just a little bit scared. It does look like we have some recent conquest here. This is not one of our team members here. But it does look like there's some recent conquests going on here. British East Africa, potentially against AI. Let's see if they're at war. Are they at war with anybody? No. So they probably just took an AI, and that's stabilizing now. We also see stuff going on down here in South Africa. We see some pink down here. That again looks like recent conquest potentially with 36 and 37%. So very easily could be something that just got taken from AI. Whoops, I did not mean to go there. I really just want to see if he's at war with anybody. And he is at war currently with Southern Rhodesia. Okay, so it's always very interesting when you see two countries at war with each other, actively at war with each other. Here's Southern Rhodesia. Looks like they're about to get eaten up, swallowed, digested. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. We have a vested interest, of course, keeping an eye on that because that's our part of the world. That's our region here. All right, so not much more here. I did want to go ahead and go through the newspaper, just kind of see if there's anything that pops out at us here. The first thing I saw was don't trust Chile. He was my ally and my friend. He gained my trust, then he stepped on it and invaded me. I asked for global support in this time of need, where we, the players, demonstrate our stand to fight against the tyranny of the wolf. And then somebody saying, I don't ever want to be on this map again. Nobody has a good country to start with. That is kind of true. British Pakistan saying you shouldn't trust anybody you can't defeat. Trust born out of need isn't trust. It's dependence, I guess. That's well spoken. Chile says you attacked Uruguay, who is my friend, and we decided to team up with each other. So a lot of stuff happening here. Some people feel betrayed, but they don't realize that they're treading on alliances, and you have to be really careful about that kind of thing as you move forward. I'm in a different game where I'm playing Alaska, and I was very careful to talk to everybody in the region before I invaded South. Like, just want to make sure here. You don't always have to do that, but it's a good idea too. Go ahead and clear it with the region, unless you don't want to telegraph what you're doing. And there's cases, of course, when you want to do something quickly and strike quickly. So it looks like we have French Morocco, French West Africa, low casualties, not really worth worrying about here. This seems a little more significant here. We have British Somaliland at war with Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Interesting. Still pretty low casualties. But again, once you get up to 20,000, that's significant. That's 25% of your initial troops. At this point in the game, we're deep enough into the game, day 8, where there's significantly more than 80,000 troops, obviously, on the map. But still, 20,000 that's not nothing. It's not nothing. Over here we have, looks like Dutch Indonesia versus Dutch East India. We keep on seeing island warfare happening. Its casualties are pretty low, but that makes sense because they're island hopping down there. Rhodesia, South Africa. We saw that South Africa. We saw the Southern Rhodesia. Very interesting that the casualties are so low. It looks like Southern Rhodesia is almost gone at this point. We should check back and see if Southern Rhodesia is at war with anybody else. Philippine Moro, Dutch East India. Okay, so not much more there. Oh boy, skip to the top. I hate when it does that. So I did look through here just looking for any evidence of gold marking, obscene gold marking. I'm assuming people are rushing forts here and there or whatever. But I didn't see any evidence of obscene gold marking. I'll be watching the newspaper over the next couple days to see if anybody's rushing their factories. Again, I don't know of any rule against it, but I do feel like a lot of people here are trying to play a pure game and would appreciate it if others would as well. In other words, just get on it. Turn of day 8, bam, hit those factories. Turn of day 10, bam, build your level 2 factories at the same time as you're building your first generation of artillery. Boom, day 12, as soon as your artillery and level 2 forts develop, level 3 factories, level 3 factories activated. Playing a pure game has its benefits. Those of you who have played in tournaments where gold marking is forbidden, you understand what I'm talking about. You have to rely on skill and knowledge, and it's quite the thrill. It's quite something to depend entirely on your skills. Down here we have British Madras and British Bengal with huge casualties on both sides, but Madras looks like getting the best of that exchange, leaving Bengal in a bad position. Again, yeah, it's not a great idea to be at war this early in the game. I don't think anyone in my coalition is at war with anybody. And although it looked like one of our guys had attacked an AI, we've also avoided that, just keeping things solid moving into the artillery phase of the game. That way we can move forward with a lot of troops in support of those early artillery. All right, so not much more going on here. Again, I was looking for some, I was thinking, man, if I see a factory today, then they're spamming. But I didn't see anything of the nature. Saw a lot of railways coming in, but that makes sense. It's about time for that right now. The biggest armies here are German, Tanzania. I don't know why I had trouble with that one. Up to 1.5% of the total world military. And, just hovering around here. Nothing surprising here. It doesn't look like coup d'etat here. So we have another person who has left the game. Flip lid is gone. And that's it. Nobody else has left the game during this time period, I don't think. It's got some spies captured. All right. That's always worth looking at. If you're paying attention, you want to know where the spies were captured. A lot of damage in northern Rhodesia still. A lot that's going on here. Rhodesia's got to be starving for resources. A lot of spy activity there. We do have a couple rebellions. I'm always interested in those. It looks like German Nambia. Okay, so got a free territory, and over here Fiji got a free territory. So that's, of course, always fun and always sad for somebody else. All right, that's about it that's going on. I really don't anticipate a lot of major activity until day 12, and you won't see that hitting probably until day 13. So I may or may not be coming out with something. I would like to start looking around day 10. I'd like to start looking around and seeing any evidence of in the paper, of course, because I'm not going to be using. I have right away with some people, but I'm not going to be using that to expose anything at all. But looking in the paper and seeing on day 10 how many factories are developing. We should see a slew of factories coming in on day 10. Really, just a ton of them. So, all right, that's it. If you would, go ahead and spank that like button, please. And subscribe as well if you want to keep track of what's going on here so that these will show up on your YouTube feed. That would be awesome as well. Thanks for joining us, everybody. As always, adios, amigo.